Hello, everyone. This is Anastasia with One Cosmic Heart, and I'm just going to give this a couple of moments to see if anybody is live and wants to join me live. And feel free to ask a question or write a comment if you'd like. Um, I've moved myself about 10 different times because the sun is coming up, so I was trying to get some good lighting, but I think this is as good as it's going to get. And I have the sun on my face, which is wonderful. I'm all for that. So, what I wanted to share with uh, you all today is something that I've been thinking about all summer and something that I've been thinking about because it's been coming up for me. And I am thinking that some other folks out there that are going to watch this may have had a similar experience. Good morning, Dia. Hi, sweetheart. Nice to see you. So there might be some other folks that have been dealing with this, and I'm hoping that if you have, that it may be a way to support you. Um, so the topic is I'm going to focus on social media a little bit, but this could apply to any area of people's lives. And I'm going to touch on things that trigger us and what to do with that, how to handle that, how to look at it from a different perspective, maybe than you have before. And I did put in the title, using this year as an opportunity for growth and kindness. So, what I mean by that, and I'm going to talk a lot about my experience, and I'll share an example, is of course, if you're not living in a cave or under a rock, then this year's been pretty challenging or interesting, whatever word you want to use for all of us. So, being on social media for myself, there are things that I'm posting that I'm having people respond to, both in a positive and maybe not so positive way. And then I'm also watching lots of things and reading other things that people are posting. So this goes both ways. This is both you maybe posting or you watching someone post or reading something. And again, please feel free to apply this to other areas of your life. So it does not have to just be about social media. But it could be about a conversation you had with someone or a relationship you had. So I'm going to just use social media because this has been coming up for me, and it has been a pretty, pretty massive growth opportunity for me. So as I'm reading things that I may or may not agree with, I'm reading and I would like to think that I'm reading them with an open mind because I want to learn. And at the end of reading it and digesting it, I still may not agree with what was said, and that's fine. That's totally fine. Um, the point of this little live is to say if I'm not in agreement with what someone is writing or a viewpoint that they have, how does that affect me? Am I reacting mildly to that? Am I reacting medium? Am I having a really big reaction? Um, is it, you could ask yourself, is it causing me harm, my reaction? Is it prompting a negative response to the person or on the thread? And even if it doesn't, even if, I'll just put it this way, some miracle, we have self control and we don't write what our thoughts are when we're in disagreement with people, um, which it doesn't take a whole lot of self control, but a trigger is a trigger. So sometimes you read something and what you think is automatic because it's your programming. It's because of what you learned growing up. It's because of what you were taught growing up. It's because of a belief system. So it's automatic, and then we might just type it out and get it out because we're wanting to express ourselves. And I just want to be clear: there's nothing wrong with that, nothing at all. Um, I think it's important to come from a place of kindness when we respond and share our thoughts. And that's how we learn and grow, is by sharing information with one another. But what I'm talking about is a trigger, right? So when you're triggered, what do you do with that? Um, And some people are just going to write a response like, I don't agree with you. That's not my viewpoint, blah, 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 kind of blast out a response and then move on. What I'm really asking people to just think about is, why are you reacting that way? What is it bringing up for you? And that's what I've had to look at this year for myself. So I'm going to throw out some topics, but I'm not going to get into them because they're all heavy duty. So, this year, of course, we can talk about the pandemic. We can talk about the vaccine. So I'm speaking in code. We can talk about wearing a mask, not wearing a mask. We can talk about, these are just some triggers that have come up for me. We can talk about the election and the different candidates that are up for election. And so again, I look at, whoa, if somebody posts something and I have a reaction, okay, what what is that reaction? And do I need to respond? I may or may not, that's fine. But I'm asking people to go in and say, what is this bringing up? What can I learn from this? Because I'm having a really negative response. So why am I having that negative response? Is it anger? Is it sadness? Is it frustration? Is it confusion? Um, all sorts of things are coming up for people. And this is another point I want to make. I noticed this in myself, and I'm pretty positive that other people have had this reaction too, which I think is very interesting. I may see something that someone has posted, and I might say to myself, whoa, I had no idea. Now I'm talking to myself. I had no idea you thought that. I had no idea that's your belief system. And the big one right now is, I had no idea that's who you are most in alignment with, right? So, um, that's a trigger. So, what do we do with that? Do we unfriend someone that we've known for a long time, someone that, we've been friends with? Do we just say, oh, well, you don't think like I do, so click? And that's fine. That you can absolutely unfollow anyone you want. You can block people, this, that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the trigger. So what is the trigger? Why is it triggering you? And I've really had to look at that because I've been in judgment of other people. This summer, this year, I've thought, well, wow, I didn't realize that was your belief system. And honestly, that's not any of my business what people think, right? It's not my business that you posted. It's my business is how I respond to what I'm seeing. That's what I'm really focused on, is, why did that bother me? And is that person still a good person? Is that person still my friend? And really, I in every circumstance, it's like, yes, they are still a good person. They are still my friend. We have different beliefs, and that's okay. But again, I'm going back to the trigger. Why does it bother me? Is this a childhood wound? What is it bringing up? It's very interesting. So I'll just have, just think on that. If this resonates with you, just think on that. And the other thing that I thought was very interesting, I had a conversation with a friend of mine a couple of days ago. I'm not going to use her name, but she shared something with me. So I'm gonna pretend like I'm her and give you the example. So I won't use her name. I don't know any of the people that were involved in her situation, but it went something like this. So I'm going to use myself, okay? And this hasn't happened, but it could certainly happen, you know, and this may have happened to some of you folks out there. So um, let's say I post something that is meaningful to me or something that's interesting, and then somebody writes a comment that's like in complete disagreement. They don't agree at all, which is fine, absolutely fine. But the way that the comment comes across may be a little snarky, maybe a little negative, maybe a little hurtful or mean. Now, it may be neutral, right? It may just be that I'm saying I like red, and the other person is saying red. Oh my God, I hate red. Here are all my reasons that I hate red, and blue is my favorite color. But I hate red, and you should hate red too. Okay, so number one is, how do I feel when I read that? Okay, do I respond? Does it bring anything up? Or do I just read it and go, well, oh my gosh, my friend, my beautiful friend, hates red, doesn't like red. And I can just leave it at that. I can say, this is my favorite color and this is her or his favorite color. End of story. Boom. Just leave it, right? But if it brings something up for you, You might want to look at that. And what is the reason? Um, Now, what happened in this situation with my friend is there was a post, a comment, and then somebody liked the negative comment. So I'll bring it back to me. I posted, I like red. Somebody wrote, I hate red. And somebody liked, I hate red. So now, I know it's a little confusing, but it's basically when somebody likes something, it's like it's going against you, right? If it's a negative comment and somebody else likes it. So this this person, the person that posts, so me, I'm mad, right? I'm mad at the person that liked a comment. What? All of a sudden I'm mad because I like red, somebody else doesn't like red, and somebody else is saying, yeah, I don't like red either. So now I'm going to be mad at the two people that don't like red. And what happened as a result of that is that I they're still everyone is still friends, right? But it's bringing up all these emotions and feelings, which is fine. Life is full of emotion and feeling, and we're emotional creatures. But what do you do with that? Do you let it bother you? Do you let it, consume your day? Do you just say thanks for sharing and you move on? And I'm just going to bring it back to, this year has just been a time of like us going, wow, I didn't realize that person thought that way. And does that actually change how you think and feel about them? Or are they in their core still that same person that that beautiful person that God created because we're all a creation of Source? So do you go back to that, or do you just say, well, their ideology around this type of food or this diet, or like I said, this color is different than mine, so now I have a different opinion of them. And it's just something that I've watched in myself because I've had that thought. I've had that thought many times this year. Whoa, I didn't realize you thought that way, and your views are so strong. Like, forget about what they are. They're just so passionate, and they are, different than mine. But I've had to just say, wow, that's okay. It's really okay. Um, there's nothing wrong with us having different views. And um, again, I'm gonna just, if this resonates with people, just ask you all to look at what the trigger is. Is it bringing up a childhood issue? Um, does it bring up issues of not feeling accepted, being criticized, not feeling heard, um, all sorts of things? There's so many things. And I would say for people that if this is new, if this kind of exercise is new for people, then the best thing to do would be to really be still, be quiet, stop the chatter up here, like the monkey mind, all that, all those voices and different aspects of ourselves that live in our brain that are criticizing all the time and are judging and all that, I would say just try to quiet that. Just say, okay, you guys can take like a 5-minute break and go within, try to really tune into your body and tune into the sensations that you're feeling. And that's going to give you a lot of information. So if I read something or somebody says something that upsets me, do I feel now tension and tightness in my heart? Do I feel a little tingle in my head like I'm starting to get a headache? Um, do, is my breathing a little less free and flowy? And is it a little more shallow because I'm like, ugh? Um, so the body is going to tell you how you feel. Now, it might not tell you, you might not be able to track all the way back to wide, almost like, you got to trace it back to the original situation where you felt unheard or unloved or rejected and all that. And that's a lot. That's a whole exercise, that's a whole technique. So just tune into your body and say, wow, I heard something, I read something, I was in conversation with someone, and when I left that conversation, I was feeling less free and open in my body than before. I'm feeling a little tight here. So then what do you do with that? You want to sit with it and allow it to open back up again. Don't criticize, oh, I'm feeling tightness in my chest. Oh, when is that going to go away? Oh my God, it's going to get worse. No, no, no. Just take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. If you can close your eyes and drop into the body and just allow the sensation, because in allowing the sensation, you're giving that sensation voice. So you are giving, say fear comes up. So you are giving fear an opportunity to express itself, right? You don't want to slam it down again. You don't want to say, no, 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 I'm not going to feel fear. I'm going to, well, you're feeling it. So right there, it's not working. So when you say, I don't want to feel fear, or I don't want to feel this pain or contraction in my body, you're actually, in essence, bottling it up because you want to put it away. So you're taking it, bottling it up, and you're storing it for another day. It's going to come around again. And where do we store it? Well, we store it in our cells, in the body, in the cellular structure. We can store it in an organ. We can store it in a chakra for those that work with energy. We can store it in our auric field. We can store it in our thoughts. We can store it in our heart, in our emotional body. So why would you want to store that? It's like literally, you want to store the good stuff. You want to store sunshine. Like right now, I'm out getting some vitamin D. You want to store sunshine and happiness and joy and lightness. But you don't want to store the contraction and the tough stuff. Now it's coming up because it wants to be released. That's the good news, guys. That is the good news. So it's saying, oh, there's something here that wants to go. There's something I've been holding on to, and I didn't realize I was holding on to this. So allow it to flow as best you can. Just breathe and give it permission. Say, I am noticing something uncomfortable in my body, or I am noticing an uncomfortable thought, and just allow it. It's almost like having a friend sit in front of you that's expressing something that's tough for them, right? They just went through something really tough, and or they're dealing with something that happened a long time ago, but it's coming up again. So they're wanting to talk it out and get it out, right? So that's what it is. You have to almost pretend like, I know it sounds strange, to imagine yourself sitting across from yourself, and a part of you has to be the therapist, right? The adult that will just listen with non judgment, compassion, love, and an open heart. And you want to listen to that part of you, that aspect of you. Could be a wounded little child, could be something that happened yesterday, but it is actually triggering something from the past. Because once we heal things from the past, then when we have a similar experience, we can just look at it and it's completely neutral. It's not going to affect us because it's not triggering that hurt and unhealed part of us from the past. So, as best you can, and this takes practice and time, I'm describing it and it sounds maybe easy, but it's not easy if this is new. It does get easier for sure, and you just want to sit. And sometimes it does help to have a friend sit with you and just allow. It's less about the talking, 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 story, 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 and it is more about allowing the feelings to come up and release out of the body, right? And if you sit long enough, they're gonna move. They don't sit there. The anxiety, the worry doesn't sit there. It's energy and it wants to be released. So do your best to allow it to release, to give it permission. Say, I'm ready to release you. Thank you so much for showing up today. I so appreciate you coming to visit me. That's another way that you can look at it, is like, my fear shows up today. What a gift. Fantastic. This is something I want to release and let go of. Thank you for knocking on my door today. And if you're not able to do it in that moment, don't put that pressure on yourself. Just store it away and go, yep, I got to deal with this later when I have a little quiet time later tonight or tomorrow. I'm going to sit and look at this. I'm going to feel it. But I know from experience that if you can just let it go, mm, that's not how I wanted to say it. If you can look at it in the moment and give presence to it in the moment, then you're not going to store it, right? And then you've got to go to the cabinet and open the cabinet and open the button, just start all over again. No, if you can be present with it in the moment, that is that is a gift. It's a gift. And maybe I'll just share this really practical thing with you that years ago I did a training called Unlimited Body, and it is a hands on healing technique. So for now, I'm not able to work with people in person to do this, but it was a lot about being aware of what you were feeling and thinking and feeling physical and then feeling emotional too. So one thing that I still practice to this day, I have shared this when I've worked with clients. I think it's so incredibly powerful, and maybe this will help some of you. I hope it does. So we've all stubbed our toe, I'm sure, at some point in our lives. And before I did Unlimited Body, before I learned this technique, this was my experience, okay? So it may not be yours, but it was mine. I would stub my toe, and this is like sort of what happens is I would usually hit a wall or the baseboard, right? So my toe slams into the baseboard, and then it felt like all the energy in the toe and the foot would just get crammed back, but it was a lot of intense sensation, like really, really intense. And I'm sure we can all sort of recall a time when we've done that or hit our funny bone. It could be anything. So now there's all this sensation and it really hurts. Like, I start swearing, to be honest, because I'm so mad. So I swear, but I also do something that's not good. I start saying, "Oh my God, how stupid. Why weren't you looking? That was so stupid." So I'm going into judgment. Okay, so I've learned to stop the talk, no judgment. I stubbed my toe. I stubbed my toe. That happened. Okay, now I'm dealing with all this sensation that is really painful and hurtful. So now what I used to do was do the swearing and the judgment of I'm so stupid, I shouldn't have done that. And then I would hop around and try to shake my foot out to try to like get rid of the sensation. Eventually it worked. Eventually. What I have found to be more effective for me is I just stop what I'm doing. If I have anything in my hands, I put it down, I stop, and I might even sit down. And I am using my fingers are my toes, right? Remember, I slammed my toe, big toe, or my foot into the wall. So now I'm feeling all the sensations here, every single one. And I may talk to myself and may say, yeah, that really hurts. Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, it still hurts, but it's a little less. And I feel everything. So now I'm feeling, and I put all my awareness, all my awareness into my toe and my foot. And it still hurts, but I'm having a better conversation with myself. And this takes really less than 5 minutes for me because the sensations of pain and discomfort do stop, come to a complete end. Um, ooh, and that's that. Oh, I don't know if I'm still live because it says I'm not. So I think I'm going to end it. But I'll just say this, that the longer I let that sit, I let the sensation sit, um, it goes away, and then I don't store that pain or discomfort again. It's gone. It's gone. And I don't feel that pain like 1 or 2 days later or a week later because I have felt it through and I've released it. And that's the gift, one of the gifts that Unlimited Body gave me. So I'm going to end this video because it looks like it's having trouble playing, and hopefully it will be available to watch later. Thank you everyone for joining me. And if anyone has any questions, let me know. Thanks again. Have a great Sunday, everyone.